really have ministered with Minister Farrakhan. I've gone to India, met with Buddhists. I have sat in council with Jewish leaders, and never have I had the backlash of accepting a conversation with you. Because so much of the black church is homo-spiritual.
Wow.
They only love what's like them.
Oh, come on in here.
Because it is not like them, they can't exercise that level of compassion. Two of my spiritual sons are sitting in this conference. I raised in Baltimore, and 3 services at our church in Baltimore on Sunday. I go to the back door of the service and shake hands as my members are leaving out. And while they were leaving out, a young man, I hugged and embraced him, and as I said to all of my members on their way out, love you, see you next week. The young man stopped and said, you don't love me. I'm gay. And it convicted me in that moment that I have done more harm, that he felt unloved by somebody who should have been promoting the love of Christ. And the belligerent, flagrant homophobia that the black church exercises really is not palatable for where we are in the 21st century. I sat and watched your choir come up and realized I've not been in that church. I preach in 3 different churches a week. I'm in 3 different cities a week. And I've not been in a church this year with this many tenors. I'm grateful for the conversation. I have no idea what we're supposed to be talking about tonight. You totally messed me up.
You know, you saw, I was trying to glide there, and I cannot tell you your acknowledgement, your humility, and the integrity that you have displayed in this moment means more than you could ever imagine. Can we just go to all straight? Many of us have needed that, and not just those of us who are in the LGBTQ community, specifically the trans community, and women, black women in the black church that comprise the majority, have needed this level of conversation. And I want to say thank you for having the courage to do that. And I've experienced the backlash in a certain kind of way as well. And I guess we're just going to talk, right? Can we just talk? I guess we out here now. We out here, y'all. We out here. Because there are people within our community that struggle with the fact that we wanted a mainstream leader in the space, right? And because because so many of us have been hurt, abused, and brutalized, people have questioned my intent, right? But as I said to you, somebody has to be the bridge. And
Yes,
as
sir.
you have articulated, somebody has to be the bridge. And so we're seeking to be a bridge. So what does that mean? As we move forward in this, I was going to say at the end, I was going to ask you, are you open to having even more dialogue with us and with people in our community? But what I want to know is, what is your vision for the bridge? What does it mean for you?
I think that the gospel in and unto itself is controversial. And the Americanized gospel has put us in a place where we want to be liked.
Yeah, talk.
But nothing in Christendom comes with affirmation. But we want to be coddled to know that it is okay. Faith is synonymous with risk. And most people are not prepared to take a risk, and yet they claim to be Christian. So there's only one that got out of the boat.
Come on now.
And I want to thank you for going where, quite frankly, I shouldn't be in this seat, Bishop, because I am not one of the spiritual fathers. I'm your brother. So the fathers of mainline denominations need to have this conversation. How much is missing from Kojic because of this? How much is missing from PAW because of this? How many is missing from Bible Way because of this? How many is missing from Baptists because of this? And so I am prepared to go to a place where I want us to have this conversation, Bishop, but I want it to be broadcast on the Word Network. Because I want the body of Christ to see this conversation. And I want to invite you. I think it's out of order for the children of the mother church to wait for the mother to be a mother. And I think that the church has to open up its arms to have this conversation, to have this dialogue. And so you have done your work. Let me do the rest.
I think this is what innovation is. We're here to talk about innovation, but this is innovative. What do you say to the mainline or mainstream leader, or even activists, or whatever, that will see this conversation? What are the steps that they should take if they're considering the bridge? And what steps do we take? Because it's complicated on our side of the street. Because number one, we're dealing with black trauma. Then you add religious trauma. Then we stay in our I Elevate bubble. I'm asking two things. You understand?
Yes.
Does that sound like a fair question?
Yes.
What does the leader do?
Yes.
Because there's so many people, so many pastors, as you would probably know,
Yes.
that desire to have this conversation, but they want to have it in secret. Because at the end of the day, they got to pay the mortgage. The church has got tithes. But people are dying. We're dying. And we're dying not so much for affirmation, but we're dying for equity. We want to be seen as valuable as everybody else in the room without compromising anything. And so I appreciate you affirming the work that we've done. I think what's important is the steps. What are the steps on both sides of the bridge to get to each other?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. Nelson Mandela said, unforgiveness is drinking poison, hoping the other person gets sick. And so what is incumbent on this community is, are you prepared to forgive us? Or are you committed to unforgiveness? So there are people who came in the room with clenched teeth, trying to figure out why I'm here.
Yeah, you felt it. I felt it.
Yeah, where is this going? What does this mean? Can we receive that level of forgiveness? We talked about in the pandemic, there emerged the phraseology of toxic masculinity, but we do not talk about fragile masculinity. And fragile masculinity is, can I hug and embrace you without questioning my own sexual identity?
Talk, Dr. Bryant.
With their own Nicodemus syndrome, that have to see behind closed doors, are dealing with their own suppressed closet lifestyle. The Black Church Bishop talks about there are 3 dimensions of sin. The 3 dimensions of sin are thought, word, and deed.
Yes, sir.
The Black Church only focuses on deed.
On deeds.
But there are a whole lot of mental homosexuals. They're not practicing, but they're thinking. And because of that, they can't have their conversations. So they don't have a relationship, but they have a porn site. So once we work through all of those different barriers and those different levels, so it may have to be a closed door to work out those wrinkles before we can come out in public space. And I'm hoping that this is that first step towards doing that.
Because I think the missing dialogue, the first missing dialogue, is just a conversation on basic sexuality.
Yes.
And basic, the human condition.
Yes.
I always say, within the heterosexual community, there's a lot of conversation that needs to happen.
Yes.
Before we can get to some other conversations.
Right.
And again, as you said, I also hope that those conversations can happen. Because as I segue into this notion of innovation, I know that you're doing a series, follow you, sir.
Yes, sir.
On Black wealth.
Yes.
I'm listening to the audiobook of Bishop Jakes' Disruptive Thinking.
Yes.
And the chapter I'm on, or I'm listening to, really talks about how, there's inequity in Black wealth, but also now the digital divide.
Yes.
And we're getting further and further and further behind, right? That's why, from my perspective, we really need each other.
Yes.
If we're going to survive, we can't be in our silos and our fractured spaces. We are one.
That's good.
When they put us on the ship, there weren't separate ships. There wasn't a gay ship and a straight ship and a trans ship. It was one ship, right?
Talk, Bishop
one.
Alex.
So we are one.
Yes, sir.
I want you to give voice to that, because I know you've been talking about that a lot. And that's what hopefully we're trying to pour out into this room this week.
Yes.
About innovation, but the emergency the urgency of innovation in our churches, as entrepreneurs, as a community, as a society, because we're being left further and further behind. I know it's a big question.
No.
But I want you to give voice to that within the context of the bridge.
Yes. Bishop, culture changes every 4 years. Church culture changes every 20.
Yeah.
So the average church is 15 years behind. So most of your home churches are excited to be on Facebook.
Talk, Doc. Absolutely.
So the average church, black church, does not have a TikTok account. It is only, Bishop, in the black church that you can have a gospel album that is on the charts for 2 years.
That's true.
Because we are in.
Did y'all hear that?
Yeah. It's what Alice Walker calls the temple of my familiar. And I think that you're giving too much credit to the perceived leadership of the black church.
My Lord.
So as a consequence, you've not heard any discussion from the black church on Roe versus Wade. You've not heard anything from the black church on the gutting of affirmative action. And so when we don't have an agenda, we lose sight of it. Many times when you deal with criminology and the data, most people who are victims of domestic violence, you are wounded or beat up or abused by who you live with. It's because that's who's closest. And so the black church beats up the LBGTQ community because you're close. So the average black church hadn't said a word about white supremacy. The average black preacher isn't preaching about evangelicals. So it's easy for me to throw off on the choir director and not say nothing about the deacon. So I'll sit down a girl in the church who gets pregnant, but the baby father's still playing drums. We pick and choose where it is that we are. And so the question is, what is the ask? We are getting ready to go into a presidential election. And 9 out of 10, Bishop, 9 out of 10 mainline denominations have not issued anything about reparations. Wow. Yeah, we're not saying anything about housing. We're not giving any demand on banks in the inner cities moving the branch and leaving an ATM machine.
Come on now.
And so when banks are redlining zip codes, they're not doing it around the gay community. They're doing it around the black community.
That's it.
And the black community is so lost that we are so busy ostracizing and alienating a community we're tied to. I shared with New Birth Sunday that the CEO of Walmart said that in 3 years, 67% of their stores will be automated. In 3 years, Bishop, 73% of Amazon distribution will be automated. So 50 out of 100 people in this room will be unemployed. But we have in church. But we're not doing no AI training. We're not doing anything about coding. We're not doing anything about graphic design. We're just trying to figure out who's speaking in tongues. And so the church is going to have to do a more proactive role and responsibility of how do we equip the saints. Not I'm thrown off because you in church wearing a hat. You can't sing in the choir because you got a tattoo on your neck. We got bigger stuff that we got to deal with. So we're using what it is to be the purpose of what it is that we are. And so I think that the first step is realizing what is the main thing. So if I take any of your members tomorrow to Wells Fargo and they're trying to get a small business loan, are they still going to ask them for 20%? They're never going to ask them how they game.
That's it.
But the church, before I let you go into hear this, ministers in training. Well, you can be ministers in training. I'm going to ask you that. And so the church breaks every HR law. Are y'all listening?
Wow.
Every HR law to suit what it is our palatability and our comfortability.
You own it today.
I love this.
What it is that we can digest. Bishop, I've been divorced for 12 years. And when I got divorced, I was on the board for every mainline black evangelical organization.
Yeah.
When I got divorced, one by one, I got Federal Express letters that brought me off of it. I want to invite all of you, because you're under Bishop Allen, you're smart, you're critical thinkers, you're intelligent, do independent research. In that time, every major black preacher's daughter got divorced. And when they got divorced, they changed their theology. Because it was palatable to their house. And so I think that we've got to do some real due diligence of the hypocrisy of accountability. Don't hold me accountable to a standard of what you don't struggle with.
Yeah.
Don't preach on just what you don't have an issue with. Shakespeare said, "To thine own self be true." And so I think that once it is that we understand that all of us are struggling with something, all of us are dealing with something, all of us have come through something, then we're able to see through the prism called grace.
Yeah.
We don't like grace when it's not ours. So we don't hear sermons on gluttony from fat preachers. You don't hear greed from preachers whose closets are bursting. Yes. They only preach on what they don't struggle with. Or with what they do. What they do struggle with. Yes, sir. And so I think that we have to have a real come to Jesus meeting, Bishop, that would involve you being in rooms like the National Council of Black Churches. You are not a rogue organization. You bring actual churches and bodies that are voting blocks that deserve a seat at the table. Power concedes nothing without demand. And so they can't have black churches who are in Southern Baptists, and they accept them. So why would they not have churches that are in this Reformation sit at this same table to say, if we are voting for Biden, what is he going to deliver? He's got to be at this same table.
Come on now.
To say if Wells Fargo is plugging $1.3 billion, how much of it is going to my congregants? And so you're going to have to insert yourself in levels of leadership and not defer to fathers, because you speak for this constituency base and they're depending on you to have their voice, because they can't depend on the fathers to speak for them.
Wow. You've preached about 8 sermons. You have helped us. So as we move forward, I want to ask you a question, particularly as a leader, particularly for the leaders in the room. What do you know now? How many years at New Birth? 4 years.
Yes.
What do you know now, 4 years in? Or what have you learned in 4 years that you did not know when you left Baltimore,
Yes.
to come to Atlanta?
Atlanta changed my whole life.
Atlanta will change your life.
Bishop,
Y'all are quiet, ATL.
Bishop, I came December of 2018. February of 2019, about 5 miles from here, they had a closed door screening for Surviving R. Kelly, the documentary. I'm from Baltimore. So in my head, R. Kelly is all things Chicago.
Period.
Yeah. So it's maybe 50 people in the screening, a whole lot of Hollywood types, people from the network. And quite frankly, I didn't want to be there. I'm an R. Kelly fan. I didn't want to know the truth. I was in denial. At the end of the screening, they brought out the families of the girls. And I had never seen fathers cry the way I did that day. And one of the fathers of the young lady is profusely hyperventilating, crying, wipes his tears, says, I am so glad my pastor's here. I'm looking around. I'm looking around like, he can't be talking about me. I said, Pastor Bryant, thank you for standing with us. So I said, wow. I'd only been there 2 months. So I didn't know him, I didn't recognize him, didn't know the family name, didn't have any history with him, but realized it was my family. That Sunday, I flowed and I functioned, Doc, like I did at Empowerment. So I told him I saw the documentary Surviving R. Kelly. Church can't be silent. We got to do something to protect our young people that's been touched inappropriately and handled. And I said, those of you who are survivors of sexual assault, of abuse, of molestation, impropriety, come to the altar. And I'm thrown off, Bishop, because it's the first time in my ministry that I see more boys at the altar than girls or young ladies. Because I had bought into the false narrative that sexual assault or pedophilia is just happening with girls and not with boys. And I don't know if you know this. I don't know if I passed a new birth.
Right.
Well, so they're coming to the altar. They're coming to the altar. And I have to pray in a different decibel. I have to pray in a different key. Because I got to now figure out, because I'm not dealing with data. I'm dealing with humans. So I have to now make an altar call, Bishop. I have never made in my life. I ask for secure men to come surround these young men, to be fathers to them. So if you're not sure, if you are timid, tepid, or you got a level of brokenness you have not processed. Y'all will get it on the way.
Oh, we already got it.
Then don't come near here. But I want you to embrace them. And I did something, Bishop. I asked them to embrace these young men on behalf of the stepfather they should have had. On behalf of the uncle that should have been there. On behalf of the coach who was out of order. And healing happened at that altar with no olive oil. With no laying on of hands. But just by the power of presence. And I realized that we had a whole lot of work to do. Our mutual friend, Dr. McMillan is with us.
Yes.
I was on my way flying 2 weeks ago, and a member of the trans community was in the Atlanta airport, and they were walking towards me, and I'm walking towards them. Bishop, full transfer, I'm having a conversation in my head as they're walking up on me, and they passed me. I passed them, going to my gate. They turned around, they worked for Delta, turned around and stopped me and said, are you Pastor Bryant? I got on, I had sunglasses. I said, yes, I'm Pastor Bryant. Says, I listened to you since you were in Baltimore. And when I heard that you were coming to I Elevate, I can finally come see you. Because I didn't think you would welcome me. Bishop, I wanted to drop down on Concourse B for God sending me a reminder on how humble you have to be in the sacredness of carrying God's gospel.
Come on now.
How it is that you can wound people. We talk about be careful how you treat people.
Absolutely.
You can be entertaining angels. So that moment, it was just 3 days after I left you in New Orleans. That moment confirmed for me, Sean, to tell you, in close quarters, I wrestled about coming here. I'm telling you, I wrestled about coming here until I saw you in the street in New Orleans. Bishop, we here. I was trying to figure out how to cancel. I'm telling you, I was trying to figure out how to get out of this. I looked for every possible way of how it is. I saw you on the street. In my head, I said, I can tell them now. I got something else to do, something to come up. The dog that ate my homework. I'm telling you, Bishop. And so I'm giving you the backdrop of you saying to me in the street that you needed me to come as a bridge. Stopped my cancellation. So when I said to you, I needed you to say that to me, is that God had to use you to arrest me for this assignment. And so I'm thankful that you didn't give me an emergency exit.
Anybody know me? No, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, thank you.
I can't tell you how much that means to me and to us. Your presence alone. It's not just about this moment, it's about what this moment will mean in Christendom, in the black church, in all of our spaces. And we're going to let it do what it does and let God be God. Dr. McMillan said something to me when we were having a conversation about you being with us. Because I wanted context. Since you were so vulnerable, I guess I need to be. It's just you and me. We're just talking. We're just talking. Absolutely. And I wanted to just know what you were thinking.
Yes.
And I've had a lot of thoughts.
Yes.
Because this is big.
Yes.
And this is bigger than us.
Yes.
This ain't even about us.
Yes.
I mean, this will be seen,
Yes.
You're well aware.
Oh, yes.
We know what this is doing.
Oh, yeah.
It has nothing to do with this room.
That's why I brought my own camera crew. I said, let me tell my own
That's
story.
right. You got to get in front of it.
I didn't trust you to edit it. I need the whole thing out here.
That's right. We out here now.
Yes.
But he said something to me that I thought was so profound. And I told First G this because it gave so much historical context. He reminded me Dr. McMillan reminded me that Malcolm X and James Baldwin were the best of friends.
Wow. Wow.
I forgot
Wow. Wow.
that they were brothers.
Yes.
Now, we talk about Malcolm,
Yes. Yes.
the nation,
Yes.
and we're talking about James Baldwin, so we're talking about the most extreme of spaces.
Yes.
On both sides.
Found a way
Yes.
to not just be the bridge, but to be brothers.
Yes.
And that is historically true. That's
Yes.
history.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
Yes.
When Malcolm died, it bruised James. He was broken
Yes.
because his brother left here. And so
That's why I was nervous about coming in this ballroom.
I know.
So somebody gonna stand up, get your hand out my pocket. That's the
Well, you see, we got somebody right there. We got the popos. We know.
Yes.
And our community is always under assault. There are our trans siblings have to walk out the door and don't know if they're gonna come back. Some of our masculine of center women have to deal with the abuse of a look. We get it. We know. Yet, again, James and Malcolm found a way to do what they were called to do, because at the end of the day, and we talk about this in the middle of this on Canal Street, right next to the French Quarters, that at the end of the day, we blackity black.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We are black.
Yes.
That's right.
We are black. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all not black? Clap if you're black. Or black adjacent. Or near black. Or clear black. Y'all can't clap for black. Y'all come on, clap for black. That's where I think we meet
Yes.
on the bridge.
Yes.
Yeah. That doesn't change anything.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
No, we're here. I'm grateful for Brothers is family, and the Black Church has tried to put the LBGTQ community in an orphanage.
Has. And even the orphanage.
Yes.
They'll burn the orphanage down.
Oh yeah. But I think that we have to call for a family reunion.
Yes.
To say there's too much on the line. There's too much at stake. Too much that we have to accomplish.
Well, this is the beginning
Yeah.
of a conversation, a set of conversations. I want to give you an opportunity, anything else that's on your heart, to
Yes.
share with us. But I want you to know that this moment means a lot, not just for the room. I'm soaking this up for myself. I'm a son of the church.
Yes.
And some people know my story. I left the church at a certain point. And, actually studied with the nation. But there's dysfunction in many places.
Yes.
And I've learned that presence matters.
Yes.
You don't have to even say anything sometimes.
No, that's
To show up, and so your presence has meant so much to us. Anything on your heart?
I need to do three things, and then I'm going to release you. Bishop, would you stand for me, please? Yes, you. Yes. I brought Bishop to Baltimore, to Empowerment Temple. How many years ago was that, Bishop?
I think it was 14.
14 years ago.
We're standing on his shoulders, by the way.
Yes, that's why I want you to have context of the meaning of this room that you don't even know. So I brought him to Baltimore 14 years ago, Bishop, to have 2014, to have what was cloaked as a conversation. And I absolutely dishonored Bishop. And I publicly wanted to apologize for our mishandling of you and for your position. I'm glad you had enough grace to come and just be in the room absent of my apology. So thank you for being a better Christian than I have been. I want to also, my son is here. We have stand up, please. This is my spiritual son. He's been with me, Bishop, since, I'm going to say he was 12, maybe. 16. And I always, affectionately around the church, called him my son. And I did not, I'll say it to you this way. How old are you now? 35. I was with him since he was 16. And I was not the father he was supposed to have. To the extent, the evidence of it is I was with him since he was 16. I moved to Baltimore, moved to Atlanta, and he is not at my church. And so I want to thank you for loving my son. And for giving him safe space. Always that you can bless him. I want to say to you publicly, forgive me for not loving you as a father should. But know that you'll always be my son. I'm grateful for you. Thirdly, Bishop, I want to close my segment, if I can. Really not even in conversation. I want to close in prayer. And I want to ask every person if you'll lift up your hands, if you will. And this is going to be the strangest prayer that you all have ever had, probably. But I want to pray, listen to me with intentionality. I want to pray for your home church. The church you were saved in. The church you were raised in. The church that introduced you to Jesus. The church where you learned the Lord's Prayer. The church where you sang in the first choir. Because that church is robbed of your creativity. Do you know how much better your church would be if they had your gift? They had your contribution, if they had your offering. Do you lift up that hand, please? Lord, I pray. Would you speak the name of your home church out loud? Speak the name of your home church out loud. I pray that your grace will be sufficient. That your mercy will break in. I pray, dear Lord, that you'll transform that ministry so that they will be relevant for the 21st century. I pray for a hedge fence of protection for those who are hostage to that ministry. They're no longer being fed, they're not being affirmed, they're being ostracized and castigated, but they stay there because their mother goes there, because their grandmother is there, because their father is the pastor. God, I pray for revival to break out. God, arise and let our enemies be scattered. I pray for the bloodstained banner to now infuse that church so that they will realize that they have missed an opportunity to love. But God, give them another chance. I thank you for it. Thank you, dear Lord, for loving us when we had to leave that church. Thank you for keeping your hand on us when they would not lay hands on us. Thank you, dear Lord, for elevating us when they tried to put us out and put us down. God, we give you glory that we didn't commit suicide. We give you glory that we are not in an insane asylum. We give you glory that we're not in the bottom of drugs and alcohol. We give you glory that we still love ourselves and value ourselves. We give you glory that you look beyond all of our thoughts. You meet us at our needs. For that we give your name praise. We give your name thanksgiving. Come on and clap your hands for what God has done. Come on, clap your hands for what God has done. Come on, you owe him more than that. You owe him more than that. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Glory, 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 glory. Glory, glory, glory. Come on. Get out of that seat. Come on, shout out the ball. Get out of that seat. Oh! Come on, get out of that seat. Oh! I wish I had. Healing is here. Oh, open your mouth. Come on, I want to hear you. We're almost there. We're almost done. But there's a move of God, and if you just stop being stingy and stand up in the room and tell God thank you. Oh, I can't hear you. Elevate your praise. Elevate your worship. Elevate it, elevate it, elevate it. Your hands hard and fast and tell the Lord thank you. Oh! Hey! Oh! Oh! Come on, let me in the congregation. Hallelujah! Come on, we're in the congregation. We might as well be here now. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's shout yes or what? God is up to something, y'all. You're not on the bridge alone. God is on this bridge. God is on this bridge. Shout yeah! Oh yeah! Hey! Hey! I'm the Lord, shout out. All right. We are progressive, but we are Pentecostal. We're on the bridge now, and something great is about to happen. Now, I'm a little more old school than some of you. When I was growing up, they used to say this thing, seal it with a praise. That means I thank you in advance. As Dr. Bryant was talking, I felt healing and I felt restoration. Not just for you, but for your family, for your mom and them, for everybody in your network. Now we don't have long because we're gonna shift gears and have a little party. But I don't want to have no party without a dance. I'm not going to disrespect the bridge. So, I hope you have some comfortable shoes on. Because I think it's time to dance. We are prophetic people that are saying, God, I want to thank you for healing my childhood wounds. God, I want to thank you for restoring my relationship. God, I want to thank you for doing something that I couldn't do by myself. And right now, money's on the way. Health is on the way. Strength is on the way. And where you go?